Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geeks-Stew, and today, guys, welcome back to the Conspiracy Theories with Ike. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about a little bit of a different theory. I guess I say that every time because I guess I am kind of all over the place when it comes to theories. Sometimes we're talking about nautical anomalies. Sometimes we're talking about people dying and being replaced. And then sometimes we're talking about kidnappings and unknown circumstances and just, wow, a lot of different stuff. But today, a little bit of a darker conspiracy, as I've realized while researching this, and this is honestly very interesting. And I have one bit of research that I want to do on camera because I feel like it would be very interesting to see if, like, my reaction, I guess. But let's get into it today, guys. Today we're talking specifically about, well, no way to sugarcoat it, whether or not the month of April is the government's blood sacrifice season. Now, obviously, I want to preface this by saying that I generally don't believe stuff like this. You know, I think our government is shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think our government does a lot of really stupid and really horrible stuff. And sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes I don't necessarily think it's, with the intent of being bad or evil or whatever the case may be. I don't really believe in the whole QAnon theory. There's a lot of really, really horrible stuff that goes into QAnon. And this honestly may be part of that because QAnon believes that our government's being run by these elites that are, basically devils, right? That these people are sacrificing children and everything else and drinking their blood in Pizza Hut basements or whatever the hell it is. So long story short, the concept of this is that due to the number of potential issues that happen in April, that it seems very odd that there is so many disasters or so many things that happen in the month of April. So before we get too far along, I want to go ahead and say, if you like this video, give us a like and subscribe. Go ahead and follow us on social media. Like I said, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I do this every other week. I do horror videos. Sometimes I do more conspiracy theories or whatever else. But that being said, like and subscribe, leave a comment, hit us up on social media, links at the bottom and at the end of the video. But enjoy, stay safe, question everything. Let's get into the theory. So the theory kind of goes as such. This is just some very general information, and then I'll kind of look at some other stuff that's going on here. But some people have noticed that oddly enough, a huge amount of tragedies happen during the month of April. According to some, April is actually the government's blood sacrifice season. During this month, the government performs sacrifices to the demon god Baal, or Baal, I'm not sure. It's B-A-A-L. And then later disguises these sacrifices as tragedies. Since many tragedies tend to happen around the same time in mid-April, even CNN has published an article questioning this tragic and unexplained coincidence. Weirdly enough, mid-April has actually been a period of sacrifice throughout many civilizations, and the cult of Baal used to worship their god of sun and fertility by sacrificing humans and fire. By sacrificing, Conspiracy theorists believe that this horrible tradition is continued by our government in the form of gun fires, explosions, death. So there's a link in this article, so let's click that and see where it takes us. So the article it takes me to, it's on a website called The Vigilant Citizen, Symbols Rule the World, Not Words Nor Laws. This seems promising. Okay, so this was published 8 years ago, so I'm not sure if anybody has like an updated list of this, but so basically here are some of the so-called proofs or whatever the case may be that kind of show that there is killings happening periodically or whatever. So April 19, 1993, the Waco Massacre, if you don't know, Waco, Texas, they burned down a compound for the Ranch Davidians, killed I think 80 people. The Oklahoma City bombing, I believe was that Richard McVeigh, or I don't know. I honestly don't remember. I wasn't alive, and I was alive. No, I wasn't alive. This was in April 15, 1995. I was born September 16, 1995. So April 20th, 1999 was Columbine. April 16th, 2007 was the Virginia Tech Massacre. April 16th, 2013 is the Boston Marathon. And then April 18th, 2013 was the fertilizer plant explosion in Texas. Okay. Interesting. So I guess that they're saying that, doing these periodic sacrifices or whatever the case may be is to the cult of Baal. And then there's a further explanation. The article says the cult of Baal never disappeared. Throughout many civilizations, the second half of April has always been a time of blood sacrifice. The worship of Baal took many names and led Molech, spread across several civilizations, being a sun god, god of fertility, blah, blah, blah. Vernal equinox is a time of rebirth, often involved human sacrifice. Okay, interesting. April 19th to May 1st, blood sacrifice to the beast, a most critical 13-day period. Fire sacrifice is required on April 19th. April 19th, this is the first day of the 13-day satanic ritual day relating to fire, the fire god Baal, or Molech / Nimrod, the sun god, also known as the Roman god Saturn, Satan / the devil. Okay. So these are the elements that are required to carry out the mega rituals. Trauma, stress, mental anguish, and sheer terror. The final act in the drama should be destruction by fire, preferably a conflagration. 3, people must die as human sacrifices, especially children, since the darkness views younger human sacrifice as most desirable. So basically all that, 2 minutes that I just spent reading from this article, that sounds batshit crazy. No, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know that there are probably some fucked up people in this world, and sorry, I'm just fixing my hair, don't worry me. There are some fucked up people in this world. I'm sure that somewhere, someone has probably thought about, believing in the devil or believing in the demon god Baal, but it just seems super odd that there's this whole configuration that these people are talking about, and that they're trying to, trying to project and everything else. But that being said, it's an interesting theory. There is a lot of coincidences. I don't know if there are other tragedies that happen in April. I guess that's something that we could look into. But obviously this is all speculation, truthfully. I also pulled up the article from CNN here, and it's called, I'm pulling it up, don't worry guys. What is it about mid-April and violence in America? So, and it has basically the same, basically it has the same listing of, you have Waco in 93, you have the Oklahoma City bombing in 95, 99, Columbine, 2000, Virginia Tech Massacre, and so on and so forth. So it does seem odd that CNN would make an article about this. I guess that not necessarily that has any bearing on the truth of the matter, but it does give some, I guess you can say, some fire to the, some fuel to the flame to say this is kind of a strange occurrence, and it's not just a bunch of crazy nut jobs who are realizing it. Let's see here, disasters that happen. Disaster that happened in April. It's a commonly searched item. So let's see here. 13 historic tragedies happened during the week of April 15th. From Florida Today. The Lincoln assassination, April 15th, 1865. San Francisco earthquake, April 18th, 1906. The sinking of the Titanic, April 15th, 1912. The Ludlow massacre, April 20th, 1914. The Hillsborough disaster, April 15th, 1989. The Waco siege, as we already talked about. Oklahoma City bombing. The Columbine massacre. Virginia Tech shooting. The Deepwater Horizon disaster was on April 20th, 2010. I have not heard about the Deepwater disaster. I've not heard about that disaster in such a long time, I feel like. The Boston Marathon bombing, which was April 15, 2013. The fertilizer plant. The Notre Dame Cathedral fire, April 15, 2019. Wait, didn't COVID-19 kind of have a huge spike in April? Theory confirmed. Wow. So that is admittedly a strange occurrence that all of these disasters, historically speaking, have happened in April. and specifically during that specific week in April, which I guess does sort of kind of narrow it down. Wow, that is strange. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to shut this before I get too far down that rabbit hole, because here's the deal. Reviewing all of that, and obviously these are just some resources. I just use Google for all of this. This is all just some very basic stuff that I've been pulling up. It is very odd, all right, very coincidental, I think, that all of this stuff has happened. And I think, kind of referring back to the article, the batshit crazy article that I read, said that these events have to like strike fear and terror and everything else. So it kind of makes sense that things like an earthquake, but again, I don't know how they could have like created an earthquake. So I guess that's maybe not as much of it as a result. But you know what? Here's the deal. People believe that, you know, the QAnon people believe that there are Jewish space lasers, right? What's that Marjorie Taylor Greene? She's literally in Congress or the House of Representatives, and she literally believes this shit. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody's like, oh, the government has an earthquake machine that they can just click on. Which, if that were the case, why didn't Donald Trump just kick that on and just shove California into the ocean, right? They're like on the San Andreas Fault, aren't they? That's like, you know, any day now is going to crack open and, you know, secede California from the Union. But yeah, so, I mean, don't get me wrong. It is very coincidental. It has a lot of, you know, interesting, you know, connections. That there's a lot of shit that happens in April, but I don't necessarily think that it has anything to do with, I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with the cult of Baal or the government sacrificing people. You know, I feel like that given the day and age that we live in, with the amount of technological advancement that we have, with the amount of awareness that we have of the government's doings in the past, I really find it hard to believe that we wouldn't have more solid proof of this. Obviously, I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to be like, but the government, man, the government, they control our thoughts. Better put on the tinfoil hat. And I suppose that could be true. I guess I really don't know. I don't work for the government. I don't work for the division of Baal where they where they plan all these catastrophes and everything else. But yeah, it does seem odd. I'll give the theory this. The theory does purport a very interesting thought, but it isn't provable at any measure. In fact, I would say this is probably one of the most unprovable conspiracy theories I've ever heard. Maybe even but behind, I would say, probably QAnon, because the whole QAnon conspiracy is just absolutely mind-bogglingly stupid. And I'm openly admitting to that is the most ridiculous conspiracy theory I've ever heard. You know, things like the JFK assassination, there being more than one shooter, or hell, there even being some involvement with the government. You know, I could even potentially believe that there were some things that he was doing that probably didn't sit well with certain people in certain places of power. You know, or even going as far as saying the moon landing was fake. You know, I would rather believe that than whatever the fuck that was. Anyhow, so we're going to close this off. Like I said, this is just sort of me kind of talking about the conspiracy, talking about some of the data that people are providing and saying that's happening, which is very interesting. There were some very interesting points. I don't believe it, but it was still interesting, interesting and fun to talk about. But anyhow, I'm going to stop talking. We're going to move into final thoughts. I just want to give a couple final, statements about this, and hopefully wrap some of this up and kind of, cap off some of the thought processes that I had during this video. So that being said, everything that we talked about is all theory. Nothing's proven. It's all just very generic, very, I would say more coincidental than anything else. I don't think that, genuinely speaking, that our government is sacrificing people en masse during the month of April. I feel like that's sort of a ridiculous idea, because I definitely feel like if that were to be happening, if that were truly the case, I feel like there would definitely be some more proof of it, other than some person writing an article about this being so coincidental and everything else. So that being said, take it with a grain of salt. I always say don't trust anything, don't believe everything, and that's true, but at the same time, it's like you got to use your common sense, because most of the time when you come into it, using common sense will give you the right answer most of the time. Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is usually the right one. I definitely apply it to this, that it's more coincidental than a specific plot by our government to sacrifice people to the demon god Baal or the sun god Baal. That being said, if you enjoyed this theory, let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this theory, or if you have your own input or thought process about the theory, let me know below. I know I said it was stupid to believe in this theory, which I would personally agree with. But if you have something that you think would maybe aid somebody in believing this theory, maybe some evidence or something you think should be taken in consideration, let us know. We're all open here. It's a safe space. Just don't be talking about Jewish space lasers and QAnon. I really hate all of that. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you did, comment, subscribe, follow us on social media. That's in the description and at the end of the video. And of course, if you want to join the Geek-Stew crew, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. That is the best place to get in touch with us to join the crew. Always looking to expand our product. But stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and trust no one. We'll see you in the next one.